Have you ever walked into a room and felt people's energy shift? Or noticed how some people seem drawn to you while others pull away without explanation? It's not in your head, and it's not just about your personality. According to Carl Jung, one of history's most influential psychologists, what you're experiencing is the power of your aura. Your aura isn't just some mystical glow artists paint around spiritual figures. In Jungian psychology, your aura represents the invisible energy signature you project into the world, consciously and unconsciously. It's the sum total of your authentic self, your integrated shadow, and your spiritual alignment. And when that aura becomes too powerful, too authentic, too aligned, too whole, it disturbs people. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're embodying something most people have forgotten how to be: real. Today, I'm going to reveal 13 unmistakable signs your aura is too powerful for most people to handle. If you've ever felt like an outsider despite your best efforts to connect, or wondered why you trigger strong reactions in others just by being yourself, this might be the most important video you ever watch. One of the most telling signs of a powerful aura is how people respond to your presence before you even speak. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, people glance over. Conversations pause momentarily. The energy shifts. You might hear people say things like, "There's just something about you," or "You have this energy about you," but they can't quite explain what they mean. That's your aura speaking before your voice does. Jung believed that a person who has done the internal work of psychological integration, who has confronted their shadow and embraced their authentic self, emits a powerful psychic charge. This charge isn't aggressive or domineering. It's simply grounded, focused, and deeply unsettling to those who lack internal structure. Your mere presence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see their reflection. This isn't about charisma or social skills. It's deeper. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room to take up space. Your very being resonates at a frequency that others can feel, even if they can't name it. Does this sound familiar? Some people are intensely drawn to you, while others seem to dislike you on sight. You receive both deep admiration and unexplained hostility, often for the same qualities. This polarity is a clear indicator of a powerful aura. In Jungian terms, you're triggering projection. People look at you and see reflections of their own unconscious desires or insecurities. To those yearning to embody authenticity, you're an inspiration. To those trapped in self-denial, you're a threat. This duality can feel confusing. One day someone compliments you for being so grounded, while another accuses you of being arrogant or too intense. Yet you're doing nothing different. The truth is, you're not the problem, you're the trigger. Jung once wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When your aura irritates others, it's rarely personal. It's instructive, but only those ready for growth will see it that way. If your aura is powerful, you become a canvas for other people's unresolved emotions without realizing it. Their unhealed traumas, fears, and anxieties get placed onto you through projection. How does this show up? You're accused of having bad intentions when you are simply being honest. Someone tells you you think you're better than everyone, when you've said nothing of the sort. You're blamed for emotional reactions others have around you, even when you've done nothing to provoke them. Why does this happen? Because your energy forces people to feel themselves more clearly. You don't allow people to hide, even when you don't say a word. Your presence is like a spiritual X-ray machine. It penetrates the ego's facade. People feel seen, and being seen is terrifying for those disconnected from their authentic self. In Jungian psychology, this is the domain of the shadow. When someone hasn't reconciled their shadow aspects, they offload that tension onto others, and if you're carrying a purified, integrated energy, you become the easiest target. Once you recognize this pattern, it becomes clear. You're not the problem. They're reacting to their own pain through you. Your job isn't to fix it. It's to stay grounded in your own self-awareness. Have you noticed how strangers often open up to you without warning? Or conversely, become hostile without provocation? These intense emotional reactions directly reflect the vibrational charge your aura carries. People might share deeply personal traumas minutes after meeting you. They might cry or become emotional in your presence, or they might react with disproportionate irritation or suspicion. This isn't coincidence. You walk into their psychic field, and suddenly, something within them begins to unravel. Your aura acts like an emotional tuning fork, resonating with repressed feelings they've buried for years. Jung described the unconscious as the storehouse of all things forgotten, disowned, or rejected. When a powerful aura meets a heavily defended psyche, it stirs this storehouse, and the result is often emotional chaos. Some may thank you for helping them realize something important. Others may accuse you of manipulating them, even though you did nothing. This is the burden of having a strong aura. You're a catalyst, not by choice, but by nature. The same fire that warms some will burn others. It all depends on their level of emotional maturity. If you've been told you're too much, you think too deeply, or you're too sensitive, take it as confirmation that your aura doesn't conform to societal norms. And that's a good thing. Our world often rewards shallow interactions and surface-level connections. When someone like you comes along, someone who sees through masks, speaks from the soul, and doesn't play games, it unsettles people. They don't know where to place you. They might say, "You're intimidating," "You're not like anyone I've met," or simply, "You're just too intense." That intensity isn't a flaw. It's a frequency mismatch. Your aura operates at a deeper level, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, and most people aren't tuned in. Jung warned about the dangers of conformity. He believed many people live as a mask, the persona, and never access their true selves. When someone who has broken that pattern shows up, it challenges the very structure of normal social interaction. You might be excluded, avoided, or misunderstood. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're refusing to shrink. You refuse to dilute your presence. You refuse to become a shadow of yourself just to make others comfortable. That kind of self-containment is rare. It's awe-inspiring to the right people and terrifying to those still hiding from themselves. One of the clearest signs of a powerful aura is that your energy doesn't just fill a space, it alters it. You walk into a room and suddenly conversations pause. People glance up. The mood shifts. You didn't say anything. You didn't announce yourself. You simply arrived, but your energetic field arrived first. That's the quiet power of resonance. Jung emphasized that a person's internal psychological state inevitably affects their external reality. The idea here is that energy is contagious. If you walk into a room carrying centeredness, clarity, and emotional strength, you'll unintentionally disrupt the emotional balance of that environment. This can happen in two ways. You elevate the space, bringing a sense of calm or groundedness. You disturb the energy because your stability makes others aware of their instability. People feel your presence not because you're louder, smarter, or more attractive, but because your energy isn't fragmented. That coherence is rare in a chaotic world, and it's noticeable on a primal level. Even animals sense it. Children often grow unusually quiet or unusually curious around you. The body reacts before the mind understands. This power comes with responsibility. When you walk into a room, you're not just occupying space, you're setting the tone. And that's something people will remember long after you've left. Somehow, people feel the need to open up around you. Strangers tell you their life stories. Acquaintances start confiding in you after just one or two encounters. Even those who normally hide behind humor or sarcasm begin speaking about real fears and regrets. Why does this happen? Because your aura carries a psychic invitation to depth. It says, it's safe to be real here. And in a world full of masks, that's a rare and powerful message. Jung believed that healing could only occur when the unconscious was brought into conscious awareness. That process often begins with honest dialogue, real, unfiltered, emotionally grounded communication. People sense that you won't judge them, that you have the emotional intelligence to hold complex truths without flinching. Your energy acts as a psychological permission slip. You don't offer surface-level presence, you offer sacred space, but this has consequences. Not everyone is ready for the kind of vulnerability your presence invites. Some may later feel exposed or ashamed, realizing they said things they've never said before. Others may try to draw you into emotional dumping or use your empathy as a sponge for their unhealed wounds. It's essential to recognize the difference between holding space and becoming someone's emotional landfill. Just because your aura encourages openness doesn't mean you're obligated to absorb anyone's pain. You're not a confessional booth. You're a mirror of truth, and that's a spiritual service in itself. If you've been resonating with these signs so far, you're part of a rare group of individuals whose energy actually changes the world around them. I'd love for you to join our community. Consider subscribing to the channel. We dive deep into Jungian psychology, spiritual growth, and authentic living every week. Now let's explore the other signs. You don't have to try to distance yourself from people who are shallow, manipulative, or performative. Your aura does it for you. People who thrive on gossip, attention-seeking, or shallow validation tend to avoid you or feel awkward in your presence. They might dismiss you as boring, too serious, or weird. That's because superficial energy cannot sustain itself around truth, and your aura is an embodied vibration of authenticity. Jung wrote extensively about the persona, the false self we wear to navigate society. Most people live their entire lives behind this mask, curating their identity for others instead of discovering their true selves. But when someone with a powerful, unmasked presence enters the picture, it threatens the whole system. You don't play the game. You don't laugh at shallow jokes. You don't entertain drama. You exist on a different wavelength, and those invested in superficiality sense that immediately. They may try to test you, provoke you, or dismiss you, but underneath it all is deep insecurity. You represent the path they are avoiding. You remind them that it's possible to live without pretense, and that's terrifying for someone whose entire self-worth is built on image management. Rather than being offended, take it as a compliment. If shallow people are uncomfortable around you, it's because your energy demands depth, and not everyone is willing to go there. You may find that some people feel revitalized, peaceful, or motivated after spending time with you, while others feel drained, overwhelmed, or anxious. You yourself may also feel exhausted after certain interactions. Why? Because a strong aura doesn't just exist, it interacts. And those interactions either align or clash with the other person's energy field. Jung emphasized that our psyche operates like a living system. When two psyches interact, there's a subtle energetic exchange happening beneath the surface. This exchange creates either resonance or friction. People who are aligned with their inner truth will feel lifted by your presence. They'll experience your energy as affirming, empowering, and even healing. But those who are deeply fragmented, those in denial, shame, or unresolved trauma, may experience your aura as aggressive or overwhelming. That's not because your energy is harmful. It's because your energetic field amplifies their dissonance. You may also notice that certain people unconsciously try to drain your energy. These are often individuals who haven't cultivated their own internal light, so they latch onto yours like a battery charger. These aren't evil people, but they are energetically parasitic. Jung encouraged us to know our boundaries, not as walls, but as filters. Protecting your aura means being mindful of how much emotional access you give people, especially those who repeatedly leave you feeling depleted. If your aura is powerful and grounded, you may find that you frequently attract manipulators, narcissists, or emotionally unwell people. This may seem ironic. Why would someone toxic be drawn to someone so whole? But there's a specific psychological reason. They want your light. Toxic individuals are often disconnected from their own authenticity. They live in shadow projection and false personas. But the human psyche is wired for wholeness. So even if someone is fractured inside, they are still drawn, often unconsciously, to people who embody what they lack. This is why, when your aura exudes peace, clarity of purpose, or integrity, you become a magnet for those who live in psychological chaos. Jung warned that when a person does not confront their own darkness, they will seek others to unconsciously possess or control. Your aura, being integrated and self-aware, represents what they crave but cannot create within themselves. So instead of doing the work to evolve, some people try to attach themselves to you, dominate you emotionally, manipulate you into self-doubt, or challenge your boundaries. It's a form of energetic colonization. They want access to your light because they refuse to build their own. Your task isn't to save these people. Your task is to discern the difference between connection and consumption. Are they drawn to you because they want to grow, or because they want to take? A powerful aura without boundaries becomes a target, but a powerful aura with clarity and protection becomes untouchable. Unlike adults, children and animals don't operate through ego filters. They respond to vibrations, not social masks. And if your aura is pure, integrated, and spiritually aligned, they will sense it immediately. You may notice stray animals approaching you on the street, dogs wagging their tails or resting calmly beside you, infants staring at you, smiling or reaching for you, children wanting to sit near you or talk to you as if they've known you forever. Jung often spoke about the archetype of the inner child, the original, untarnished self within each of us. When someone is in alignment with their true self, they radiate an innocence and presence that children and animals instinctively recognize. This recognition isn't intellectual, it's energetic. It says, you are safe, you are real, you are trustworthy. It's important to realize that this draw is spiritual in nature, not simply emotional. In Jungian terms, you're embodying aspects of the divine child or the caregiver archetype, energies that radiate nurturing, harmony, and protection. People who are lost in ego games may not value you, but animals and children, those closest to pure instinct and spirit, will. And that's often the most honest validation of your soul's integrity. The more spiritually grounded you become, the more neutral your energy feels, and the more disturbing it becomes to others who are not grounded. This is a paradox you've likely experienced. You're calm in chaos. You speak slowly when others are shouting. You're still while others are fidgeting. You don't react impulsively even under stress. To someone who thrives on noise, drama, and chaos, this is not comforting. It's threatening. Why? Because your inner peace reminds them of the inner war they're losing. Your stillness becomes a mirror to their restlessness. Your lack of reactivity confronts their addiction to stimulation. Jung emphasized the idea of psychic integration, a person becoming whole by acknowledging all aspects of themselves, including the dark and light. When you reach this state of internal balance, you emit a kind of quiet power. That power isn't explosive, it's magnetic. People feel it but don't understand it. You're grounded because you've done the deep work. You've faced your trauma, questioned your identity, sat with your darkness, and aligned with a higher spiritual truth. Now you walk into rooms not with ego, but with spiritual presence. You don't need to dominate. You don't need to impress. Your energy simply is. And to someone living on autopilot, that isness is alien. They expect performance, noise, false charm. You offer none of that, just truth. And nothing is more uncomfortable than being faced with truth when you're not ready for it. Most people spend their lives trying to be liked, validated, accepted. But if your aura is powerful, you've likely outgrown that need. You no longer modify your opinions to fit the room. You don't smile to make others comfortable, shrink your light so others won't feel small, or apologize for your boundaries. You've learned to validate yourself. You know your worth. You've walked through fire, survived solitude, and found peace without applause. That makes you deeply uncontrollable. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But that privilege comes with a price: alienation from the herd. When you don't seek approval, you become unpredictable. You break social norms. You cannot be guilt-tripped or manipulated. To people who rely on control or collective consensus for their identity, your independence is deeply disturbing. It dismantles the illusion that belonging requires obedience. You've stopped looking for permission to be yourself. That alone creates a vibration of power so strong that others feel it before you speak. It doesn't matter if you're extroverted or quiet, loud or soft-spoken. Your energetic signature says, "I am not for sale." And in a world that commodifies everything, that is terrifying. Having a powerful aura isn't about superiority. It's about authenticity. It's about doing the inner work that most people avoid. It's about integrating your shadow, honoring your truth, and standing in your power without apology. If you've recognized yourself in these signs, understand that your energy isn't a burden. It's a gift that requires responsibility, boundaries, and purpose. The world needs more people with powerful, integrated auras, more truth-tellers, more light-bearers, more souls brave enough to be whole in a fragmented world. Your aura isn't too much. The world is simply not used to authenticity, and that's not your problem to fix. Keep shining. The right people will not only handle your light, they'll be grateful for it.